This is the PowerShell Podcast, PowerShell and DevOps Global Summit 2025 edition, the bar sessions. Oh, Andrew, you're just awesome, man. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick. And now, here's your host, Andrew Pla.
Welcome to another PowerShell Summit bar session. I am here with first-time attendee, David R. Believe it or not.
Well, pleasure to meet you, Andrew, and it's great to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Dude, so let's hear about your journey. What's your, where are you from, and how'd you hear about Summit?
Well, ironically, the way I've heard about PowerShell Summit was from you.
Oh, PowerShell Podcast.
Yep. I started with PowerShell a couple years back, and I started with the new company, and one of the things you wanted me to learn was PowerShell, and I took the plunge, and the more that I started digging into PowerShell, I started listening to the podcast, and it's opened up so many doors.
That's awesome to hear, man. I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you sharing that with me because, I know that there's people that listen, but it makes such a big difference when I can connect those dots and hear about the different stories and the journeys and sort of where it played into them, and now to see you in the flesh, to hear someone who's a listener, now he's here, and now you're on your journey, learning your stuff, I think I met you earlier today because we were seated just like two across from each other, right?
Yep, we had one person in between us, and you sat down, and I'm like, hey, that's a very familiar voice.
Right?
And come to find out, it was you. I saw you talking, I'm like, oh, that's the guy right there.
Dude, I saw you on your screen. I think it was VS Code. I saw the IntelliSense. I saw the fonts going on, dude. I was like, okay, this guy's getting his stuff going on early in the morning.
Trying, man. It's a surreal experience being here. It's my first time ever at a conference, let alone, for PowerShell. It's definitely a new and surreal experience.
Yeah, and it's just so interesting for me the first time I attended. What I thought was so cool was to see so many people. I consider myself a nerd, and I think it's a good thing, but so many people who are kind of nerdy and who are so comfortable being themselves. Like, there's so many different awesome personalities and people who are just totally feeling comfortable in the vibe, and it's kind of empowering, and we share this passion for PowerShell. It's kind of infectious.
Yeah, people, you never know. You can meet someone and not know them from a hole in a wall, but just that common interest, you can come out and find a lot of common grounds. And it's fun seeing so many people that all are going through the same type of path, and but they're having fun with it.
For sure, and that's a big part about it, because it's hard to do something consistently if you're not enjoying it. I mean, PowerShell's a language, right? We got to repeat this thing. You got to practice. Doing Duolingo is only going to get you so far, man. You got to speak that.
And it's a lot of effort. You have to sit there, and you can't sit there and just twiddle your thumbs. You have to go in the trenches. You make and break. You fix. You have to try. If you don't try, you're not going to come out and get far.
Yep. Oh man, there's that's what it's all about, man. Learning how you learn is such a critical part of having a successful career in IT. Because guess what? The people who were successful 20 years ago, those technologies don't exist anymore, right? It's all about learning.
Everything evolves, but everyone has a start. Just like how every technology has a start, so do you. Anyone can contribute if they want to come out and put their mind to it. All it is just putting that extra foot forward.
So I see you're out here. You're putting yourself out there. You're meeting new people. I saw you're just socializing, making a whole bunch of new friends.
Trying.
What's your next step to contribute? What's your growth kind of looking like from here? I know it's the beginning of the week, day one, into day one. There's been a whole lot, but sort of where are you in your journey, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, even just from day one, I already absorbed just from that one talk. Went straight to the hotel, just started scripting away, trying to pull information, just knowing that I could try and test certain things from a demo. I tried it out, and a lot of those ended up working. The first talk was about Graph and using it with Entra ID. Everything with my job currently deals with Azure, and just knowing that I could pull that resource, I did it, and it's just from a single talk.
Yeah. Was this the 4-hour deep dive?
Yes.
Yes.
That was with Alexandria. Yeah,
Alexander, yeah, he's awesome.
great,
From the EU.
great gentleman, and very knowledgeable, and all those tidbits that he gave, and he gave little optional items that you can come out and do, and little workarounds.
And also, he told me that all the code's available. So anything you want to dive into more, it's basically a lot of it's kind of like plug and play, great starting point. And those are the kind of things that justify the cost.
Oh, very much.
When I was telling people about Monday, I was like, anybody who I met, it was their first time, I said, hey, at this 4-hour session, these are the takeaways you share with your coworkers. When you get back, you share with your boss, you say, hey, here's what I learned. That way you kind of freed up the rest of the week to absorb and be less worried about how you're going to sell it to your boss. I mean, there's definitely things you're going to continue to say, but that 4-hour workshop is kind of wild.
Yeah, it was a wild start, and a lot of information to absorb, but it's a lot of information that you can come out and use in your work environment and test around, see, just pull information, see how you can parse it. Try to make it where you can show information to your company.
Yep. So where are you with your PowerShell journey? Are you running commands? Have you written a function? Are you in the modules? Sort of, what's your skill set looking like?
Well, I haven't written my own module yet. That's something that I'm building towards, but I've built my own functions. I've built my own tools to be able to work with other tools. One of the tools that I worked with was the CIS tool to audit for your machines, just to make sure that your CIS compliant.
Yep.
There's a batch file that you're able to pull using PowerShell and get all that same information. It's a little bit of work to get around it, but you're able to just use that little bit of automation to save yourself time.
Yep. And I think it's really worth, we talked about it with Stephen Judd earlier, and that's good. If it works, it's good. And I think that when it comes to functions versus modules, the beautiful thing about PowerShell is you've been getting value from it since you were just running commands. Before you knew how to save a .ps1 or learned what a function was, you're able to get value from it. Each step along the way, it's important that you're connected to the fact that you're getting something out of it. Because if you can do that, it's easier to keep using the language and keep growing with it. Because the real thing, the reason you see these people who we all look up to here is because they stood the test of time. They were able to consistently grow, consistently use the language, consistently write things, and get to the point where they, brick by brick, they built a huge wall. And it looks almost like, how could a human do that? When you get behind the scenes, it's just one step at a time, man. And it's cool to see people like you putting those bricks on the wall as we're here this week.
Yeah, my background was in construction before, IT.
Wow.
Everything has a foundation. Everything starts from the bottom. You build up. You build your beams. You come out and get an understanding of what your layout's going to be. As long as you can come out and figure out your layout, how you're going to come out and build, it's easy to find a path, but you can't be scared to, take that plunge.
Man, it sounds like you have a great perspective, and it sounds like you got some skills underneath your belt. You figured out how to get to where you are in PowerShell, which is a lot farther than almost everyone gets, right? You're at a very high level at PowerShell, and you're here amongst people who are, some of them at an even higher level. And it's cool that we're all along that different stages of our journey, but you seem to have a connection to that growth kind of process. Where did that come from? Has it been through the construction thing? Have there been other things in your life where you feel like you've kind of been able to grind your way up?
For everything with PowerShell was just a start. And I am nowhere near high level at all. A lot of the stuff that I still do, even right now, I still feel like how you say the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, man. We all deal with that. For sure.
It tries to, hold me back, but you have to come out and take that plunge and build forward. It's not, something that you're going to get overnight. I had to build up. I had to fail. All those failures built to something. You have to start somewhere, and if you can't trust yourself that you can't take that plunge, why try to do something that you're not comfortable with? Even if you're not comfortable with it, even if you take that plunge, you still took it. no one starts somewhere, just knowing everything.
Yeah. I'm so glad you have that perspective. And that's one that I did not have that impression initially. I was like, yo, people like Jeff Hicks and Mike Robbins and Don Jones and all these folks that I learned so much from are just built different. They're just a different caliber of person that I'm not fortunate enough to be born that way. But it turns out, like you're saying, it's just one step at a time. You can actually do amazing things. And honestly, I'm just so fortunate to have met you this week. And I'm very curious what your journey is going to look like from here.
Yeah, and I thank you for, one, just having the PowerShell podcast was just a big help because you introduce so many people, so many stories of different people that, went through the same type of experiences, same type of trial and errors. Everyone had their start.
Yep.
I'm having my start now, and I'm still going to keep on pushing towards it.
Heck yeah,
have fun with it.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I hope you stay in touch and keep me informed of the journey, and anything you need from me, feel free to reach out. Really appreciate the kind words you shared with me. It really makes such a difference to hear the impact of things you do. And that goes out to anyone out there listening. If someone has helped you, feel free to say thanks. It goes such a long way, and it's an introduction point to potentially a great conversation, and what from us might be a great friendship.
Yeah, and just for you putting that positivity out there, it grabs people, and a little bit of positivity in people's lives is what is going to end up driving them to come out and do bigger and better things. And just these little tidbits, from your podcast, from all these other users, all this information that you provide, it helps. You don't provide things that's not useful. Every segment, someone is providing something.
Yep.
Grab onto it, find it. Find a module, experiment with it, have fun. You make and break, screw it. You just keep on going.
Dude, I love that, man. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing how the week goes for you. Big day tomorrow. Normal size sessions. No big 4 hours. So hopefully a little bit more bite-sizable.
Well, I just want to absorb as much information as possible. It's an amazing event, and the more I would definitely want to come here again anytime.
Heck yeah. And the good thing about the talks is they're all on YouTube afterwards. So if you go to a talk, you get the first 20 minutes, you start dabbling around, playing with the technology. The rest of it's going to be available afterwards. I also recommend checking out the hallway track. If you hear somebody who has a great conversation, it kicks off, you want to learn about the technology, there's a speaker you want to follow up with, message them on Slack, hit them up. I think you've seen a lot of people out here really love talking about PowerShell. Any chance you give them.
Love talking about PowerShell, and the kindest people you can meet. Yeah.
The biggest impact you can have in the world, I think, is being kind. And it's cool to see that lived out here.
Sometimes you got to put that forward, man.
Dude, David, great talking, man.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you, man, and thank you so much for your time.
Dude, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the PowerShell Podcast. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick.